The Weasel himself, Pauly Shore, joining us on the show right now. Pauly, thanks for coming on, my
Oh,
friend.
oh shit! What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Pauly? How you doing, my friend? Hey,
You
so
can say shit. You can say shit now because I was watching CNN and they say it on there.
they do say it a lot on CNN. Do you watch the
Yeah.
news at all? It's kind of crazy these days, isn't it,
It's
Pauly?
it's a little. It's kind of emotional. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Do you ever do that?
Uh,
Like, I don't think your dad back in the day ever did that. Like, touch too much on politics in your act.
I do it, but in a way where I don't pick a side. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of like, I did some stuff about me running for president, and just like a lot of my comedy is silly, and I think the more intense the life gets, I think the sillier that I need to be, because every comic, if you watch, it's like so calculated.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not funny. It's all very funny, but it's more calculated and thought out. Like I like being silly, like my dad was.
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
goofy.
You're
You
legend.
know what I mean? Like goofy. Yeah.
I think people need that now. It's like, do you feel like we need comedy and we need to laugh more than ever before? Because you're obviously extremely talented, funny guy from a very talented family. But I feel like we're so divided, Paulie, politically, right now, and people are so angry at each other. I feel like we need more people like you out there.
Yeah. Well, that's my focus. My focus is try to bring people together. I think that for some reason, especially with social, obviously everyone knows people, have access to that now. So it's kind of like the whole thing is heightened a lot more than it was, 30, 40 years ago,
Yeah.
even though it was the same 30, 40 years ago. But it is what it is,
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You got to count. I think it's in life, and I tell this to myself all the time, is you got to count your blessings and try to count, the things that we have as opposed to things that are not, and try not
Yeah.
to get too involved with
Right.
the negative.
I remember I saw your show a few years back at Wise Guys Comedy Club, and it was a show where you weren't really doing stand up. You were talking about your life, you were talking about your family and the ups and downs in your life. I thought it was actually really touching. And what I didn't know about you was, man, I mean, you lost several members of your family in a very short period of time. And I would imagine your work helped get you through that, right? And you never really get over something like that, but your work and maintaining someone being busy. Can you talk a little bit about that? Keeping your mind
Yeah,
busy.
I think we all kind of cover up our emotions with our work. I think every single one of us has a lot of sadness and things that have happened, with death, and things like that. And I think that a lot. That's why you always hear about people never wanting to retire, because the second you retire, you're dead. You can work. You can keep working till you're 90. If you want, because what that does is it keeps the energy off of you sitting at home alone, being sad about the people that have died around you. And
Right.
I think it's important that we try to stay busy. And so for me, next year my focus is Austin, Texas, Las Vegas, and LA as far as my stand up. I'm not going to be touring as much all over America. I kind of want to play those three markets and kind of just stay kind of put,
Sure. I'm
so
curious.
I can write more and stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, do you ever get in your mood sometimes? Like, how do you deal with the fact that you got to be on stage and you got to be a professional and you got to entertain where you might not be in the mood to do so? Like, how are you able to change your mindset and just get through it? Because I'm sure you have those days like we all do when we have to work where we just don't feel like going to work. Do you ever have those days?
Yeah, it's actually the opposite.
Wow.
For me, it's the opposite. So for instance, if I'm going through something emotional, I know once I get on the stage, I'll be able to breathe again and I'll be able to be relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I can't wait to get on the stage when I'm going through something. You know what I mean?
Interesting. No, that's
it
true.
relaxes me.
No,
Yeah.
there are some people that do it as well. Let's talk about your shows. Obviously, you're on stage tonight at 9 p.m. You have another gig tomorrow at Wise Guys at 9. I love that area, by the way, Wise Guys, downtown Las Vegas on Main Street. It's the art district down there. I think it's a beautiful comedy club, affordable prices for drinks and food there, and you get a nice local crowd, right? You're going to get some tourists in there also, right? But it's a very local friendly club, which is what I love because I've lived in Vegas for 20 years, and I know you've lived here at one point as well. It's a very local, fun type atmosphere, right?
Yeah, well, I actually introduced the owners of Wise Guys to the people that own the property there, and I was the one that actually brought the comedy club to the Arts District.
So cool. So cool. Yeah, I love
So,
that
mhm.
atmosphere. It's just great. Before we let you go, Paulie, and I appreciate you taking a couple minutes to join us to talk about your shows coming up. Talk to me a little bit about your material. Are you trying out some new material? Any new topics that you plan on discussing starting tonight over at Wise Guys?
Well, the subjects are the subjects. I mean, it's always the same subjects. It's family. It's relationships. It's social media. It's getting older. It's it's all this stuff that people relate to. I mean, it's Pauly Shore at 56, so that's kind of where we're at. I don't know.
What is it like having all of these? I would imagine, what would you call them? Cougars that come up to you that have been in love with you for decades. I would imagine you have a lot of these women that come up to you after every show because you're Pauly
Well,
Shore. I mean, come
guys
on.
and girls, it's still I still pinch myself, believe it or not. I still I still can't believe the people that know me and the people that I've affected, you know what I mean, in my films. I
Sure.
had that run in the 90s, and here we are 20, 30 years later, and it's more prevalent now than before. I talk about doing Comic-Cons a lot, as an actor, you're like, oh, I don't want to do a Comic-Con, but then you do it and you realize, like, shit, this is beautiful because you're giving back to the people that gave to you early on, and you see their hearts and you see their smiles and you see their beads of sweat on their bald heads as well.
That's me, by the way. What is like the
Mm.
the top of the list of when somebody recognizes you? I would imagine that happens to you every day in public. What's the top thing that they will just say to you when they come up to you in public?
Well, to be quite honest, it's not one particular thing. It's a feeling. And there's a genuine smile and there's a genuine gushing, is what I've been experiencing. Like when they see me, I mean, I get a lot. I mean, I don't need to sit here and tell you what they say specifically, but they say really nice things. And then as a person, it's hard for me to let love in. So you kind of just try to like take those moments of, like
Yep.
what you did for them, you're actually getting in return. You know what I mean?
Sure, sure, of
So
course.
like I'm getting a lot of love in return from them.
Well,
It's
you
just,
deserve it.
it's even more for me than it is for them. Yeah.
You deserve it. Well, the Weasel, Pauly Shore, love you, pal. Thanks for coming on. Can't wait to see your shows this weekend. You're 9 o'clock tonight, tomorrow, and then you're doing two shows on Saturday, which I'll
Yeah.
be I'll be at one of those. Pauly, you're the best, my friend. I love it. You're
Yeah,
back in Vegas.
my friend Matt Edgar's coming in town. He's one of Joe Rogan's guys at the mothership.
Oh,
So he'll be
cool.
featuring for me. So it's going to be a great show. Yeah.
Look forward to it. Pauly, thanks so much for the time, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. I'll see you this weekend. Have a good time tonight.
Later, brother. Bye.
Take care. There you go. The Weasel, ladies and gentlemen. Pauly Shore. I grew up with his movies. Listen, when Pauly Shore texts me and he says, "Hey, I'll come on your show to promote what I got going on," I put Pauly Shore on the line. It's very hard to make this. Okay, I do radio, folks. It's very hard to make a transition from what is a very serious. I don't mean to laugh, but I'm just telling you, very serious murder that took place in New York City, and then have the Weasel on Pauly Shore, and then go back to some serious topics. But I'm going to try to do that today.